Welcome to Recovering Addict. I'm your host, LT, and I'm an alcoholic addict. If it's just your first time catching the show, just know that I have hit rock bottom 2 times due to alcohol and drugs. The first time I was in my early 20s. I became a meth addict tweaker. Got caught for doing a second-degree felony. Almost went to prison for 15 years, man. And then I had 3 years of probation. And once I got off probation, I was clean. I lived my life as a clean, sober person until I was 33. And then I started casually drinking, had no idea that I was an alcoholic or an addict or what that meant to be an alcoholic or addict, or that I was plagued as a person with the allergy towards alcohol or drugs, that our bodies just don't handle it the same. And so from age 33 to 40, I drank, and it escalated until I drank a fifth a night, every night, in gallons on the weekends, until I ended up having to check myself into a detox center for 3 nights and 4 days. And then I spent 5 months in an IOP program. I quit drinking. I started getting better back in August, October. August. Yeah, back in August of 2019. And then at 47 days, I relapsed. So I had to restart my birthday order, as you can see, white, orange, white. And that was October when I finally got my solid birthday. My solid birthday in October. I've been clean ever since, and I have no plan on looking back. Recovery is the future. I always think, what does it look like to go down if I would have continued to drink? It would have never gotten better. Even though I thought, I could keep doing this, and then eventually it'll get better. Now, I look down the road to recovery. There ain't nothing but bright things for the future. We might almost have to bust out the sunglasses because our futures are so bright.
So bright, man.
Well, like I said, I'm LT. I am your host for this evening.
I'm Felicia. I'm your co-host, and I am married to this man. Had to live with him, and if you want to know what that was like, just ask.
Yep. And if you want to know what to expect from this show is about helping the still suffering addict get off of drugs. What does that mean? That means we love you. That means we're going to invite you to a community. We're a bridge to a community that loves you, who wants to see the best for you, and who wants to help you. Because why? We've been there. We've done that. We know the misery. We know the pain. We know the suffering. We hated it. And we don't want you to have to suffer any longer. And then once you're out of there, once you're got some sobriety under your belt, even a couple of days, we want to teach tools to learn for the rest of our lives on how to prevent relapse. Never have to go back to that ever again. And that's our goal in life, to continue to educate ourselves and to continually build and make a better us, to work on ourselves. This is us time. Right now, we have the car pulled in the garage. We got the hood open. That's us, metaphorically speaking, and we're working on our minds. That's what we're learning right now. And then we take it tomorrow, even right after this, and practice it in the real world and just try to love everybody. Try to be the best we can be.
Mine don't work today.
Good.
You're in charge.
Good.
Good luck.
Good. Let me touch on my mouse.
Mouse issues again. Yeah. Somebody didn't charge mine.
Is it dead? I don't think it's dead.
Kidding.
I don't think it's connected.
Yeah, I won't connect. Maybe if I tap it, last time I had to.
Woo! How is everybody today? There you go. You're connected now.
See?
There you go. Handle it. You're the boss.
Something about tapping
the
the
boss.
mouse and all of a sudden it works. Oh, well, let's say hello to everybody. Hello, Dwight and Derek in the house. We got Mr. Cheater, and thank you again for all the gifts yesterday.
Yeah, it does. So
I've
cool.
been drinking Pinon coffee for the last 2 days now.
Pinon.
The Pinon.
Corey.
Hey, Corey was up.
Hope you've been practicing your watermelon smashing.
What?
He sent me a funny video.
Oh, that chick getting hit in the face with the watermelon?
No, this guy, he tries to headbutt 100 watermelons, but the table's kind of flexible.
Oh,
So
no.
each watermelon was 20 hits. The guy ended up stopping. I'm like, stop. Big old goose egg on his head. It was sad, but
Poor
hilarious.
guy. I just seen one where the lady tried to
Oh, yeah, that
do
one's
that.
bad.
I was like, oh man, her face is gotta be messed up. Anyways, Marilyn, hi. Hello, Samantha G.
Hi, Samantha. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you.
Do we know you?
If you feel like it, let us know about your recovery, how you found us, what's your plans, and are you in recovery? How long you been clean? You still drunk high? What's up? How can we support you? Is what
Yes.
I'm trying to
Hello, Merd.
say. Mr. Red, what's going on?
Marcus and Anchored Hearts. Hello.
How's it going, brother?
Hey, Jerry.
There's my brother. What's up, Jerry?
Jerry in the house. Cherie's got to babysit tonight.
I have to leave at 12:30 today. I'm babysitting my nephew. Lucky
What do you
you.
mean tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, tomorrow.
great host you are. Thanks for being here. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you for all your
Hey,
funny
TJ.
videos. TJ, what's going on,
Who's
brother?
my
You're looking
Facebook
sharp in that
hero?
picture,
That
man.
is
Woo.
Bryson. That's Bryson. Hi, Bryson.
Hey, Bryson, what's up on
Glad you've
Facebook?
been back. We missed you those 30 days you were gone and out of touch. Da, da, da. Jen R. Hello. And we got Kyle. Shout out to Sawyer House and your beautiful Carmen. Corey's coming up on 18 months.
Yes.
This is Petey.
Excuse me.
With your daughters. Your daughters are so cute. They're adorable.
No doubt.
Glynis.
Australia, first time watching. Nice. How do we say your name? Can we just call you Glenn or
Chocholowski.
Chocholowski? That's a cool name.
That is cool.
So what's up with you in recovery? How can we support you, first off? And how long you been sober? How long or whatever. All that good stuff. In a nutshell, if you want to let us know about you, please. 2 years, Samantha.
2
Yes.
years, that girl.
Good old wisdom in the 2 years is no joke. It takes some trials, tribulations, triggers, and education to get to 2 years. And the fact that you are interested in a recovery channel proves that you still have recovery on your mind. And people in the chat could probably use the wisdom you have. And I'm sure you could use the strength and hope from them in the chat as well. And we're glad you're here because I know I sure can use it.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Amber. Glad you're back.
Amber, hey, what's going on?
Up? Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash.
Reppin' Johnny Cash. What?
Oh, yeah. 800. We hit 800 today,
Dang.
guys. Thank you all for
everybody
making this
out
happen.
there.
Thank you all
That's
for making
amazing.
this happen.
Wouldn't be here without y'all. Petey. I enjoyed that little piece of Zoom I got to.
Yeah, that was a
hang out
fun
with
Zoom
you guys.
today. Fun
That
Zoom.
was fun. Oh, Jared loves our background.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
I love
if
your
you
picture.
remember, one of my, I think it might have been my second video I ever uploaded before I even got to know any of you guys. I think it's the one on complacency. I take you through here and I show you my plans for this studio. I walk you through and you guys even get to see me put mud on the walls. I described how I was going to put a studio here and a living room back there. All that kind of good stuff.
I like his background.
I know. I love that one. I love your thumbnail.
All the Aussies are in the house.
I love our people from down under, man. They are cool.
You're welcome, Jerry.
That's not a knife.
Hey, Brittany. This is a knife.
That's not a knife. I've been practicing.
I know. I felt weird. I felt weird.
Mr. Red, that's when Frank said it, he said, "What's up, Mr. Red?" I was like, man, it's Mr. Red. What are we doing here?
Hello, Lish.
Love you too, Lisha. Love this community as well.
Aubrey.
Aubrey. That's a strong brother, man. He sends me encouraging, just afternoon for me, morning for him, but it's just what I need to hear at the moment. And I thank you, Aubrey, for that.
And then we got John.
John, there he is.
Welcome, John.
Man, even your text is as good as your audio.
That's funny.
Weekends on the AM dial.
Oh, Cal's working on his Jeep and building guns. That's cool. I know. Frank knew right away, Mr. Red. Frank got it clear, and I love his channel, by the way.
Dude, he is amazing, huh? Just talk about a person that gives humbly and you just go out there and give. Dude's still on parole. I don't know. That guy blows me. Inspirational to me. He made me, because my dad is also a barber. Frank's a barber. My dad's a barber. I've cut hair. I've been the guinea pig of haircuts when I had hair. But I've cut all my kids' hair growing up. Felice has cut their hair. So both of us know how to cut hair as well. And I was like, man, honey, we could go downtown and cut hair like Frank.
You'd see a whole bunch of homeless people with fades.
Yeah, we're good at fades. That's about it.
They don't have the same exact haircut. And if I messed up, they'd be bald.
Merc said, Frank got it wrong. Stupid Frank.
Got us all jacked up. Now nobody knows what to say.
I'm going to go with Mr. Red. Because you can rewind it to the first time, Murd, that you showed up to our channel. I said Mr. Red, and Felice said Murd. I'm sticking to it. Don't even argue with me.
I said red rum.
Oh, yeah, you said Red Roman. I said Mr. Red.
He's a Frank's a solid dude.
Mm-hmm.
You got it wrong again.
Dang it. That means one more and I'm out. That's the second one he's given me.
Murd.
Murd.
Marcus is starting in step 4 tomorrow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Right on, brother.
Very cool.
Get rid of those.
Oh, yay, Bob made it.
Sweet. I had a joke for Bob and now I can't remember it.
So did you take an old lady to your meeting with you and then drive her around town? Well, what?
Dang it.
Jen R's a hairstylist.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so my dad cut hair. He owns a barbershop right downtown. My mother, she was a hairstylist, so I grew up in hair salons and stuff. I've had perms and I've had my forehead burnt from a perm.
I was gonna cook something, but notice the time.
Oh.
Cook and listen.
Yeah. Prop us up. Prop us up somewhere.
Where's Linky?
Oh, man, where is Link? Linky! I don't know. All right, let's read this AA thought of the day. Y'all should be ready and willing to carry the AA message when called upon to do so. Live for some purpose greater than yourself. Each day you will have something to work for. You have received so much from this program that you should have a vision that gives your life a direction and purpose that gives meaning to each new day. Let us not slide along through life. Let us have a purpose for each day. And let us make that purpose for something greater than ourselves. So here's our question. What is my purpose for today? I like that. It always makes me think of, now I forget his name, of course. I can see his face, big, tall, Jim. At my IOP, he was an old timer. He's probably up there in his 70s. But he said that. He's like, what kind of person would I be to come here in such desperation, get all this help from everybody, and then once I'm better, just bail? Why wouldn't I stick around and give back to that suffering addict? You know what I mean? And that's just one of those things that stuck with me that helps me every day carry on to do what I do. Here's our meditation of the day. To see God with eyes of faith is to cause God's power to manifest itself in the material world. God cannot do his work because of unbelief. In response to your belief, God can work a miracle in your personality. All miracles happen in the realm of personality and are caused by and based on a belief in God's never-failing power. But God's power cannot manifest itself in personalities unless those personalities make his power available by their faith. We can only see God with eyes of faith, but this kind of seeing produces a great change in our way of living. And here's our prayer of the day. I pray that I may see God with eyes of faith. I pray that this seeing will produce a change in my personality. All right. What happened? Uh-oh. My daughter's crying.
No. She lost the keychain.
Oh, ready? Teeter, my daughter's crying. She lost that keychain. She can't find it. That little pink one that looks like this one. She's really upset right now. You'll find it, babe. It's okay. We'll find it. Samantha was in an IOP. Awesome. How long were you in yours and where was it? Or what kind of IOP was it? Obviously intense. Mine was from 5:30 to 9 o'clock, 5 days a week. And then we had mandatory AA or NA on the weekends. We actually had to switch back and forth. Then we had to do a character defect inventory sheet on the weekends any night that we missed, and you weren't supposed to miss any, but any nights that we had to miss or on the weekends, we had to fill out this inventory to measure our character defects for the day. And then we'd come back and sometimes he'd talk about it. He'd be like, I checked your guys' inventory. What's up with you? DBUs, drug tests, all that stuff. Great place. I loved it.
Corey asked about a Chinese soup.
Chinese soup? 1,000 pounds of it.
He said, what about Chinese? And Sky's fire ceremony was awesome.
Yeah, that sounded like a cool ceremony.
Very cool.
God is going to work. Go ahead.
A miracle with my personality. God is going to fix my personality disorders. I have faith. As do I. Be back in. Here we are.
And you wonder why I ground her from the mouse.
I'm not left-handed. It does weird things.
Excuses. Excuses. Here's Link, everybody.
Wow. I got a joke. What do you call a Chinese millionaire? Cha-ching.
Or he ordered 2,000 pounds of Chinese soup. It was wonton.
Wonton. 28 watching and only 10 likes. Oh, come on, y'all. Merc, I agree.
I'll like it. I win.
It's a highlight of my evening, whether my day is good or bad. Just so I know the meeting. This meeting is one addict helping another without power. Amen, Derek. Thank you. It's a highlight of my evenings, too. I love getting on here. Just keeps me in check. You guys keep me in check more than you'll ever know. All the stuff we read, because I read it a couple of times. Two, at the minimum, I read the chapter twice. And then I try to practice it so that I'm not up here just being, blah, blah, blah without actual action. And sometimes it's not easy. Like this morning, I had some issues with my truck, and the guy sold me the wrong part, and I'm plugging it in, and I'm installing a new radio is what I was doing. And the door chimes went off. I hate door chimes anyway. I think they're pointless. I understand if it's going to tell you to put your seatbelt on. That's fine. Whatever. But you put your seatbelt on, shut the door, start the car, and it dings. Why? I don't get it. But this one was obnoxiously loud. I had to cover my ears bing, bing. And I could not figure it out. Bleeding. I read both manuals, front to back, every word. I researched anything I could find on Google, YouTube, everything. Called them a couple times, and they're like, I don't know. So I finally drove it down there. I had all my dashboard guts just right in the middle console. Driving. Speaking of anger, that is what we're about to get into. And the anger I was having was reflex anger. I was reacting to this situation, and I was mad. But on a good note, and growth in my life, and living what we read, and living accountable to each other. I didn't throw anything. I may have cussed a little. I didn't punch anything. I didn't break anything.
You did a good job. You did a good job. I was quite impressed. I was waiting.
That's how mad. When I get to that mad, something usually flies out of the shop. Something usually crashes into a million pieces, or my hand gets swollen because I punched a inanimate solid object.
The worst I seen you do was self-control, tap the steering wheel with the screwdriver.
Oh yeah, I was
like, well, look at him practicing that self-control. Good job. Corey really loves the substance in this group. Thank you.
Me too, brother.
Hey, Soupy.
Soupy, what's going on, brother?
I sent you a present too. Let me know if it makes it that way. I'm hoping I stuck it in the right mailbox.
We had to resend out some things because we added a new person to our package, and his name is Bookmark.
Yep.
So everybody got resent out some things.
Yeah, if you had previously ordered a shirt, I made sure you got a bookmark.
The bookmark is fabulous. It fits in all different sizes of books and styles, and it's got this really stylish hemp rope. Is that hemp?
PD, you can turn those off. There should be a button.
Yep, those settings are right in front of you, brother. Oh, come on, Mark, stand up.
Oh, I used mine earlier today, and I don't have a drink right now, or I would be using my New Mexico.
No one drinking out of the New Mexico cups. I have it here.
Oh, wait, there it is.
No one touches this cup. This cup stays forever displayed on the channel. The other one is probably getting washed. And then the one I got for my birthday from Fleece is right there. Right there.
Yeah. LT, what I think is awesome is that a year ago you were wanting to be where you are headed with your YouTube now. Hashtag inspiration.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Jen R.
Thanks, Jen.
Jen R.
Yeah, if you guys, I read you guys maybe Jen remembers that, my relapse prevention that I read in my IOP almost a year ago now. No, it was almost a year ago. Back in February when
This, I think, answered your question, Sam.
when were you in? From August, the end of August to February of 19 and 20. But yeah, my relapse prevention plan, I mentioned my YouTube channel that I wanted to grow a community that was going to be relapse prevention and have a, blah, blah, blah. And it's working. It's keeping me accountable. It's part of my plan, part of my relapse prevention plan. You got to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're going to fail.
True. Glad you got it, Lish. That means I stuck it in the right mailbox.
So anger, I dealt with that this morning. Anger is not a bad thing, though. Anger is a powerful and important emotion. Everybody knows. We get it. Its management may well be the most difficult psychological problem of our era. While addiction literature has some fine books on anger management, we still need to understand more about the real essence of anger. Anger can be divided into 3 categories. If you got a pen, you can write this down. 3 categories are reflex, reaction, and retention. And we're going to break each one of those down and see what they exactly mean. So phase 1 is the feeling of anger when provoked. If someone offends me or hurts me, I feel angry, and this essentially is an instinctive reflex emotion, right? Over which one has little control. You hurt me, I hurt you. Reflex. Phase 2 is reaction to anger. When offended, I may bite my lips and say nothing. I may make remarks, I may hurl explicitives, or I may push or strike out. Although I may have no control over the feeling of anger, I have much control over my reaction. So I guess that's different than reflex. Reflex is just boom, you're hit with it, right? And then reaction is when you react out towards it. So I had that wrong. And then phase 3 is retention of anger. It says, granted that I have no control over the initial feeling when provoked. That's true. We have over that initial feeling, we don't. But how long do I hang on to it? Minutes, months, or 15 years? So for convenience, he says we're going to refer to phase 1, anger, phase 2, rage, and phase 3, resentment. So up in my book right here, I put reflex, anger, reaction, rage, retention, resentment. So anger, rage, and resentment. Too often, anger leads quickly to rage. Addicts seem to have a particular difficulty with reacting to anger, even when it's not under the influence of chemicals. So even when we're not drunk or high, we have a hard time reacting to anger. Right here, that's me. Of course, when self-control has been weakened by chemicals, the rage may be very severe. Is there some way of diminishing the intensity of phase 1 in anger? How do we diminish the initial feeling and the reflex, the rage of anger?
Here's soup. Still have some anger. Overacting is still a problem, but I catch myself in 10 seconds. But I can spew out a lot of BS in 10 seconds without immediately making amends. Yeah?
Yeah, I hear that.
Author has a sense of humor, 15 years.
Yeah.
New viewer, what up, Nora? Glad you're here.
Welcome, Nora.
Hello.
If you are so inclined, tell us about yourself, where you're at in your recovery, how you found us, how many years you got clean. Are you drunk and high right now looking for support? Look at us as a group. Look at us as a bridge to a community who wants to help. We're all here to help each other. Why? Because we recover better together. That's a fact. The more I say it, the more I realize it. The more I realize it, the more I say it.
True, true, true.
All emotions have functions. Although religionists and secularists disagree on many issues, they do agree that everything in nature has a function. For example, the vast array of colors in the animal world, for the multicolored bird to the splendor of aquatic life, all serve some purpose. Colors may allow a creature to blend into the environment, serving as camouflage for protection, or bright colors may help attract a mate, right? Everything serves a purpose. So then we have to ask ourselves, what purpose might anger serve us? What function does anger serve in nature? Anybody got any ideas about that? Who's our Facebook user? Oh, Bryson.
He says, I hate when someone say, no, Bryson. That word no is too hard to accept.
Then nobody likes to be told no. When we want what we want it now. Yes, welcome, Nora. Welcome. Did you put those up on the screen? Because Nora can't see those ones from YouTube.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, you.
She's on Facebook.
Oh, I see. Everybody says hi, Nora.
Bye, Slim.
Later. Welcome, Nora.
Who's Slim? Did they leave?
He said, haha, okay, bye.
I don't know who that is. Oh, the real Slim Shady?
Yeah.
LC, the real Slim Shady. Please stand up. Heck yeah, brother. You know this, man. Somebody's in timeout.
Let's see. Retention of resources and territory. This, I do believe, is Dylan. I can't wait to get him, bud.
Oh, I'm excited. Real Slim Shady. Real Slim Shady. You are in timeout, mister, for 5 minutes. How do you feel about yourself? Anger can a lot of times cause you to look inward. Yeah, that's true. You start beating yourself up a little bit, huh? All right, so what function might it serve? It does not seem necessary for survival. If we're attacked, I might be able to defend myself adequately without becoming angry. Fear can exist without anger and can initiate the fight or fight reactions necessary for survival. Even without anger, I could recall who attacked me and be alert to possible and future attacks. So why anger? Anger is not the same as hatred. We can be very angry at someone we love, and we can hate something without being angry at it. So then what purpose does anger serve us? Abram believes, he says, I believe the natural process of anger is to preserve social order. And I think, Sky, you kind of experienced this today. Our feelings of outrage at someone being robbed, beaten, harmed, prompt us to take action to prevent such happenings again. Without anger, we might defend ourselves adequately, but we might not make the effort to protect anybody else. Anger is an emotion invoked by injustice toward ourselves or others. But what is unjust, right? That's the question. So where's the line of injustice? And that depends on person's thoughts, values, and beliefs. People differ sharply on what is just or unjust in this world. Thus, some people become angry much quicker than others. This reminds me of a story in the Bible because it says to be angry and don't sin. And if you remember when Jesus, I don't know if you guys read the Bible or not, but this is the story that comes to mind because I heard a sermon on it that was pretty awesome. But Jesus comes in and clears the temple out, right? He makes a whip out of cords and he's clearing. And he didn't just come in, hey guys, get out of here. He was whipping dudes, right? One guy, Jesus, this manly dude, right? Comes in, whack, whack, and he's grabbing their tables and there's money and they're flipping it and he's opening the cages and kicking the animals out of the temple. Because the temple was his father's house, and his temple was designed, and this portion of the temple was designed for everybody to gather. The Gentiles, everybody, Jews, it didn't matter. No racism in here, right? Everybody was coming to worship the one true God, right? And what happened is the Jews, the Pharisees, the government, imagine that, they were coming to have a feast or have this festival, and they were coming to do the sacrifice, right? So they would bring a cow or a bird or whatever they could afford to bring to the sacrifice. And the Pharisees, they were being greedy. It was all about money. And they had a system set up. You had to have the priest look at the animal, make sure it was spotless and without blemish, right? And the priest would look at it, and guess what? This one just ain't good enough. Sorry. And guess what they had, though? But I got one over here you can buy. And they would sell them one that they would approve as a good sacrifice. And so they were taking advantage of people. And then they would take that poor animal that they said was unworthy and put it over here into the other. Now it's in the good pile. And then they would resell that one. And so it was just this huge scheme and scam inside this house that was supposed to be for worship and love and tolerance, all that stuff, right? And so Jesus came in righteously angry, and it drove him to action. This is unjust. Cleared the temple out. That's what got him killed. One thing that got him killed.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, he went off. I mean, to think about that, to walk into a place where people got their money and all that stuff and just start kicking their tables over and pushing them around.
Crazy. Bob called it righteous anger.
Amen. Righteous anger.
That's what.
So it's okay to be angry, is the point. I think, Sky, you experienced righteous anger today, and I felt it with you righteously, and it drove you to action. I mean, this is okay. This is good, and you get it off your chest, and yes, I agree, right?
Correctamundo.
Addicts and intense anger. Many addicts seem to think that the world is unfair to them. They feel victimized, right? Why me? By everyone. They're victimized by everyone. And they are angry at everyone, including God. Why me? Why are you doing this to me? The sensitivity of the addicts to any perceived injustice is much like the sensitivity of a person with a migraine headache. I like the way that he puts this part right here. Because us addicts, you know how we are. We're up, or we're down, and we are down. We are hypersensitive, or we're not sensitive. We're either super numb, or we're super sensitive. Us addicts and alcoholics have a hard time riding this even kill like normie people, right? I know I don't. It says the sensitivity of the addict to any perceived injustice is much like the sensitivity of a person with a migraine headache who may feel excruciating pain at bright lights or loud noises. Addicts often feel offended, belittled, and humiliated by everyone. Their families don't love them enough. Their friends don't value their companionship enough. They don't get enough recognition from the employers for their hard work, and so on. How much is enough? Given the hypersensitivity and the unstable needs of some people, infinity may not be enough. Hey, there's more than 14 years for you, Bob. 15 years for you.
Infinity and beyond.
With the hypersensitivity of the victimized personality that drives the anger, why me? Look at me, give me more, value me more, companionship more, employer recognize me more. With this hypersensitivity and unstable needs of these types of people, infinity may not be enough time to give them what they are craving in the intense side things.
Wait for it. Wait for it. There's a comment. I can feel it. I know it's there.
You talk for a minute. My throat's going down on me.
Haha. I know mine's here. There it is. Bob. Also, the sense of entitlement and the offense of not having their entitlements met. Yes. We're babies at times, even after 12 years.
Me and my buddy Mark were just talking about that.
True.
He's like, we really never grow up. We're still that little kid inside throwing a fit. We just know how to bite our tongue a little harder.
Yeah.
Ain't that right?
Yeah. 100% true.
100%.
Oh, Big Hump's in the house. Did we say hi to Big Hump?
We did say hi to Big Hump.
Oh, good.
We can say hi again.
What's up, Big Hump? Nice cartwheels.
You can always grow asymptomatic to infinity, but never reach infinity because,
Calculus. I can just see him saying that. That was awesome.
Very mathematical. Yeah, give it to God. He always sorts it out.
Amen, Samantha.
It's a good place of peace and joy right there.
The problem then, there's a problem. For the addictive thinker is not only the severity of their rage reaction.
Asymptotic.
Huh?
Sorry, I was reading out loud.
But also the distortion of their perception. Okay, so it's not just the severity of their rage reaction, but it's the distortion of their perception. We don't perceive things as they really are. And therefore, once we haven't perceived reality, we take offense to this non-reality. You know how our imaginations go, and we just play it over. And the more we're isolated, the more we're alone, the more crazier, the more, if somebody doesn't answer the phone, I don't know if you've experienced this, I have. You text somebody a couple times, and your imagination run wild of why they didn't answer you, and you're just thinking, well, they hate me now. Oh, man, goodness. But then they call you back. Oh, hey, sorry, dude, I was freaking sleeping. Something simple. Here's story time.
Bless you, thank you.
For example, a man comes home from work and announces, hey, everybody, I'm home. The wife and the children. Get your mic off from that. Hey, everybody, I'm home. The wife and the children, absorbed in an exciting television program, respond absent-mindedly, and they don't jump up to greet him. To this man, their lack of response indicates how little they value him. And he's thinking, how dare you? How do you like that? I break my neck all day to provide adequately for them, and this is how they appreciate me? To him, this lack of appreciation is gross injustice, and he feels intense anger. He's out working all day, comes home, walks through the door. Wife and kids are just on the maybe it's a really good action spot, and they're just like, whoa. He's like, hi, guys. And they didn't even register to him. And he perceived that as a lack of value towards him from what he's been doing all day. In essence, it's that the world revolves around me kind of a thing, because it's like, oh, you haven't been thinking about what I've been doing all day? To him, this lack of appreciation is gross injustice, and he feels intense anger. Or when his wife shows attention to her friends, he may feel she doesn't value him enough, and he becomes angry with her for humiliating him. Perception. Distorted perception.
Big Sam said he's solid. He's been listening since the beginning. Today I am sober.
Yes.
Yes. Welcome, Thomas.
Hey, Thomas. How's it going, brother?
Thanks. This is an interesting topic. Anger. From addictive thinking, page 81.
So, Thomas, what we do on this channel is we try to educate ourselves on how to prevent relapse. And what's the best way to prevent relapse? Understand what's going on in here, because if you're an alcoholic and you've experienced alcoholism, you remove alcohol and you're stuck with the ism. The ism, what goes on between our brain, right? And we've gone through 3 books. This is our 3rd book, actually. It's called Addictive Thinking, Understanding Self-Deception. And we're on chapter 14, and the topic of this chapter is anger. Hey, thanks, bud.
Anger. Alicia said that's why she has a dog. They always appreciate when you come home.
That's so true. That is so true.
They just wait all day, and they can become
delusional. I've been there. I've done that. All these examples I have experienced in life in one way or another.
Thomas is a friend of Mr. Teeter. Any friend of Teeter is a friend of ours.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Glad you're here.
Yeah, awesome, dude.
Teeter's friend.
Hey, Teeter, thanks for the fan mail the other day.
The fan mail? The fan mail. We got fan mail. Yes.
Oh, that's funny. So we can now understand, although we don't excuse the reaction of the addicts who feel victimized by injustice, every culture accepts that perpetrators of injustice should be punished, right? I'm sure if you've scrolled through Facebook in the last week or 2, you've experienced this type of injustice anger, right? That's a reflex. That is what the addict who acts out anger is doing, punishing another for injustice. I guess it's just how they perceive that injustice. So while techniques for managing anger are important, getting rid of the distorted thinking that generates the anger would obviously be more helpful. So instead of, I love that part right there, because that's so me. Oh, I got mad again. I need to control my anger. Dang it. How do I stop being so mad? How about take one more step back and look at the way my mind reacted to the situation that caused the anger? And maybe that's where the problem lies. Remember that whole thing I went through about finding the root cause of the problem? You got the Jefferson Memorial, right? And the birds pooping everywhere and they power washed it and that whole scenario, right? And it turns out that it was the lights was the key issue, the whole problem, right? What is the heck? I just said it. The root cause.
Mm-hmm.
The root cause to my anger may be my mind and the way that I perceive things. So to understand that, get a grip on that is going to help your anger. And so me preaching to myself right there. When I feel anger, instead of moving forward into the anger, I'm going to step back through the anger, try to reevaluate. You know, maybe you need to take a few breaths and 5 to 10 minutes to get rid of that emotion before you can even see the situation clearly, to see if you thought about it differently, you know?
Can I say a quote about anger?
Yep.
Every minute you're angry, you lose 60 seconds of happiness.
Every minute you're angry, you've lost 60 seconds of happiness.
Tell me that's not the truth.
Thomas, anger management is a subject that I have studied and experienced quite a unique emotion. Hi, Michael. This is Bryson. I gotta blow my nose.
Thomas, give us some insights to what you're thinking about, or any little sweet quotes that you've learned or whatever. So anger is normal every day that we go. We learn to accept anger and learn how to control it is the hardest thing. Yeah, amen. Don't let the sun go down on your anger is more than just don't go to bed angry, but deeper. Yeah, absolutely. I agree, Corey. I love that verse. It's kind of like don't let the rationality of everything become dissociated and let your anger take a new level as your adrenaline drops and rage bomb into play. Amen. Absolutely. Leads to murderous thoughts a lot of times too. Anger pisses me off, so I actively trying to remove it from my life. Anger pisses me off. That just sounded funny when I first read that. I'm mad now. I'm pissed because I'm mad. It's kind of true. It's funny.
Yeah.
Your turn to read.
I can relate. I got banned from Facebook for 30 days for calling British Prime Minister a something. I didn't know that is considered hate speech.
Really?
You're welcome.
That's funny.
I got angry?
No, Sky felt that today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
That's that injustice. That's out. I think, Sky, what you felt was completely healthy and normal, and you handled it well. It was anger that produced action because you saw injustice.
Mm.
And what we just went through, I think, proves that you are absolutely justified and healthy in feeling what you felt, because that's a kind of thing that anger is for in nature. It produces an emotion to us that's going to lead us to defending injustice. You know what I mean? So I think it was.
Can I add something?
Yep.
It's your choice to be angry. You could be happy.
Whoa.
You know what makes me
Oh,
angry?
no.
All the little brown bugs around our house. Those make me angry. So I went around and sprayed them with soap water. There was one on me just now.
So in recovery, an addict's perceptions.
Sorry.
Oh, yep. Have fun watching your nephew. In recovery, an addict's perceptions undergo a gradual change. With the help of counseling and work in the 12-step program, addicts become less centered and less exquisitely sensitive. True that. As sobriety progresses, self-esteem improves, and they no longer interpret everything as personal, as belittling. They begin to take responsibility for their actions and stop blaming others. Things that used to provoke anger and rage no longer do so. And I've experienced that in my time of sobriety because I've had anger issues. Like I was talking about yesterday, if you hang out with an angry dude long enough, you're going to learn his ways, and that way is no good. And I thought it was cool to be all throwing a fit and breaking stuff when I would get mad, learning it from that guy. I thought it was cool. But since in sobriety, learning and working a program in 12 steps, even Link noticed like a month ago, he's like, Dad, you don't have road rage anymore. I was like, oh, I don't. I hardly even noticed that I didn't. It was weird.
It's peaceful these days.
With the coronavirus going on, it's not that peaceful.
Right.
Right.
So this is much different from repression of anger. Repression occurs when there's been a true injustice and when a person who has legitimate reason for feeling anger does not feel it at all. This is an abnormal as not feeling pain. This is as abnormal as not feeling pain when stung by a sharp object. Certain people have learned in one way or another not to feel anger. This repression of anger is not a control technique whereby a person recognizes anger and decides to handle it in a certain way, such as slowly counting to 10. Repression is an unconscious psychological mechanism that keeps a person from being aware of an unacceptable emotion or idea at an unconscious level of their mind. The anger may be felt, but it doesn't appear in the person's awareness. Now, this is not healthy. And he has a story time to explain.
Story
I'm gonna take it over.
time.
Is it 8:48 already?
It's time.
Oh my goodness, you're right. It is time for Cassie.
Good evening, my recovering addict family. I'm here tonight with your motivational quote on recovering addicts. Savor the moments that are warm, special, and giggly. Sammy Davis Jr. And as always, you guys continue to do it with me every single night, so thank you so much. I appreciate you. Let's bring it together, put that heart in the middle, and let's continue to spread that love.
Absolutely. Cherish those moments.
Thank you, Cassie.
Thanks, Cassie.
Love you as always.
What did Bob say?
He hasn't read ahead in the book. Let's see. I think we missed a comment from Bob. I tend to go straight to clinical depression after an offense. I used to get angry, even rage and do damage, but something is broken in my mind. I rarely feel rage and resentment free, but this happened over time, years. I noticed the change looking back. Like I used up all my anger tickets or something. Get depressed. That happens. So if you don't get mad, it can be a problem.
Yeah, so this story is going to illustrate that probably, Bob. Maybe what you're going through. So here's a good example of repressed anger as a patient he treated for chronic depression. Imagine that. So a nun with strict religious training, she had developed the idea that feeling anger was sinful. To get to my office, Sister had to travel an hour and a half, taking 2 buses. She wanted to avoid being late for her appointment, but the bus schedule was such that she arrived about an hour early. He says that I tried to always be prompt, and she always waited patiently. One time, I had unexpectedly left town. I neglected to tell my secretary to call Sister and cancel the appointment. Later, learned that after waiting long beyond her appointment time, Sister asked about the delay and was told that I was not in the office that day. So on his return, he called the Sister to apologize and set another appointment. And when she came to the office, he again expressed regret for failing to notify her of her cancellation in advance. He's all, I'm sure that when you found out that I found out I was not in, you were very angry, I said. Sister smiled, said, no, why would I be angry? Well, because you traveled for an hour and a half and then waited 2 more hours, and you wasted a great deal of time because I neglected to call you. There's no way you could not have been angry. Sister continued to smile sweetly. I understand these things happen. You're a very busy man. I have no reason to be angry. I'll do my own apologizing, I replied. I appreciate your consideration and your willingness to overlook my mistake, but don't tell me you didn't feel offended. And with that same sweet smile, Sister said, no, why should I feel offended? And now he says, I'm certain Sister was telling the truth when she did not feel offended and did not get angry. Feeling is a sensation, and her sensory system did not register anger. It had been trained that way. I think something is wrong with that. It is like discovering numerous burn marks on your hand and not recalling being burned. If your nervous system is intact, a burn should produce pain. If it does not, then something's wrong. Voluntarily controlling one's reaction to anger is not wrong. Certainly, it is not necessary to throw things, hit the wall, or shout obscenities, which I like to do. In fact, those who say a person should discharge anger by screaming or even hitting a punching bag have little clinical grounds for this recommendation. Yeah, you're just taking it out on a soft object or screaming in a pillow it's the same thing, huh?
Yeah.
So it's perfectly safe to decide not to manifest anger, but not to feel anger is something else. Not feeling anger indicates unconscious denial and repression of anger, and this can cause problems. Little wonder that Sister was chronically depressed and suffering from high blood pressure and ulcers. Anger that is denied and repressed may result in depression and various physical diseases.
Interesting. Yeah. Allergies are trying to kill all of us.
And my left ear is clogged.
This nose keeps running. And poor Linky,
This nose is clogged.
he's all jacked up too. We're messed up over here.
Yeah, we're victims of pollen.
I keep biting my
We're
lip.
victims of sinners.
I'm getting pretty angry.
Are you chewing on something?
It's irritating. And then it gets swollen and you bite it like 4 more times.
Oh yeah, I feel that pain.
We are victims of sin. That's what we are.
Yep.
Anger was and is the foundation of blind accusations. After 10 years of spreading, we must step back and look at the overall situations and find the answers in our mind and inner self. Okay, got it.
Oh, okay.
I just thought
Does that relate with you at all, Bob, with that little story about the sister? Not with me, because I feel anger, boy. I feel it. And I have to control my reaction to it. I don't feel it as much because my perceptions are changing as I'm growing in recovery and learning things from my sponsor and wise people like you guys out there. But like this morning, I was mad. And I wasn't so much mad at the guy that sold me the wrong part. I was mad at the engineers who would put a ding in the door for no reason. I hate things that don't add value. If there's no value added, why? Ding, ding. What is it telling? It's telling me nothing. You turn the key on, it goes ding, 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 and then your car's running. You're like, thanks. What does that mean? Besides annoying my ears. Now I'm getting mad again.
Righteous indignation.
Now I'm getting. I want to talk to the engineer that did the ding for no reason.
LT's still working on anger too, as you can see.
But if you think about it, anger is just a thought.
It's an emotion.
Link, do you get angry?
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
You do? I've seen you get angry at Millie.
Yeah, that's about it.
It's like a baby that cries when he's tired. He becomes cranky and needs rest. And also, if I'm snappy, I don't talk.
Mm.
Yeah, me too.
Sometimes it's best not to talk.
If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
The 24 hours said today, I have faith that God can heal, fix my personality, fix disorders. Yes.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I think you have a great personality, Bob.
But it will take a miracle.
You're welcome, Dwight. John.
Already.
Oh man, that's as bad as Baby Shark.
Hi, Christine. I've got
4
days
years.
this Friday. Currently married to a 30-year active alcoholic. That is a struggle. I feel
Wow,
with you.
active alcoholic. So you know what she's been through.
And me.
And him.
One thing, since we're talking about anger, one thing to keep in mind is you cannot control somebody else's anger. Somebody's angry with you and you've done your part and you've apologized and they're still angry, and walk away. Can't control that. I say
Good on
that
ya.
because alcoholics can tend to have a one-track mind.
But you know what? She's still married. Imagine they have their
Faithful.
troubles. But Christine, man, good on you for being there. Maybe you see through the addict and know the real man behind that or whoever. I don't know. That's commendable to me, what I see in you right there. 4 years sober and still loyal. That's pretty awesome.
So for the other 26 years, did you guys, I'm assuming you guys drink together? Oh, happy Father's Day, says Alicia or Alicia. My little sister says it, Alicia. Welcome. Oh, hi, Chad.
Hey, what's up, Chad?
Happy Sober Saturday.
Happy Sober Saturday. Amen to that. Michael Teeter, you have a great night at work, brother. All right, so I put a star by this one. Men do and should cry.
Have a good time at work.
Men do and should cry.
Amen.
When they've been hurt, many men become enraged rather than offended. It seems that they should be crying, but instead they explode with anger. Perhaps this is because the normal reaction of crying is not available to them. Why? Because they believe men don't cry. Many cultures equate masculinity with stoicism. For example, the newspapers may report that a tragic incident, a man wept unashamedly. Why should a man ever be ashamed of crying when hurt?
Jesus wept, why can't I?
John 11. Huh? John something 11.
Very good point. I cry when I get angry.
Shortest verse in the Bible.
There's an article I read about crying one time. People who cry, it releases chemicals, and people who cry are much less depressed.
Maybe you need a good
Stressed
cry, Bob.
Than other people. I'm trying to find that article. It's a good article. Agreed. There's no crying in baseball.
From what I hear. There's no crying in baseball.
Christine learned to play the guitar instead of drinking.
Oh, cool. I play bass and drums. I'm gonna have my drum set up. I'm gonna have my
Awesome.
drum set set up behind me here shortly too.
According to this book, John, there is crying in baseball.
There's no crying in baseball. Tom Hanks.
We should watch that movie. I don't think the kids have seen that one. That's a classic.
So when deprived of the outlet of crying, the male psyche may seek other outlet. And this often results in rage. In fact, being deprived of the chance to cry when hurt is unjust. And perhaps this injustice converts the pain into anger or rage. So upon entering recovery, some men cry for the first time since their infancy. They learn that it's okay to feel, and thus, one important source of anger is eliminated. Sometimes you need to cry instead of freaking out.
Yeah. Don't hate it. Embrace it.
Man, every time
Good
I
for
did a
you.
step reading, like I said, I was in that IOP, steps 1 through 5, and I had to read my first 3 steps. Well, then I had to read a book report, character defects, a life story, drug history. We had to write a whole bunch of stuff. And every freaking time I would get halfway through it, and it was like an uppercut. I'd either get to something about Felice or the kids or my sister or something in the family that I was ashamed of, and I'd start reading that part, and man, it was like a giant person just grabbed me by the throat. John 11, verse 35. That's right.
My story agrees. I have lost more than one should and cried in anger and sorrow. I am 55 and still on occasion do so. No shame here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to like weep, remember, and like rip their clothes and cry.
yeah.
All the men in the Bible cried. Tough men cry. We're changing that stigma.
I noticed that before the accident, I wasn't a crier. I wouldn't cry. I had that stoic stigma. Men don't cry. And I didn't preach it, but I lived it kind of like, oh, I'm not going to cry. But then Link's accident happened, and I sobbed like a baby multiple nights in a row at the Ronald McDonald House. And then after that, I see like ones that get me every time is when the dad sneaks into the classroom after he's returned from overseas, like whatever, military dude, surprises the kid. The kid turns around and sees the dad. Every time I'm like,
Yeah. Those are insta tearjerkers.
gets me every time.
Linky's looking up the verse. That's what I put up there.
John 11:35, bud.
Mark said his first year of sobriety, he'd cry no matter what emotion I felt. It was weird sometimes. Lots of new feelings I had hidden or risen from the dead. TJ relates. Crying doesn't happen often. Some films get me. Sounds like you need to cry more, Bob.
The Notebook, that one got me.
Jesus.
Yeah.
The Notebook got me. I'll tear up at that show.
It's 35 to 36. Jesus wept.
That's
So
it. Jesus wept. Boom.
Shortest verse in the Bible.
That's the shortest verse in the Bible. All right, here's our last little bit. Getting rid of resentments. Marcus, you're on step 4. This is getting rid of resentments. So phase 3, basically, right? We got the 3 phases we just went through. Phase 3 is retention, which you can turn into resentment. Resentment is managed especially well in the 12-step program. Recovering people are told if you hang on to resentments, you'll drink again. People at meetings unburden themselves of the grudges they have been harboring. In the process of doing so, they often become aware that they were misinterpreting another person's actions and that there is really no reason to hold a grudge. Sometimes we may realize that what we thought was harmful to us was actually a blessing in disguise. Or we may realize the common sense of the idea that harboring a resentment is letting someone you don't like live inside your head rent-free. Sharing perceptions and feelings with others and getting an objective perspective diminishes resentments and may eliminate them altogether. Sharing perceptions and feelings with others. We recover better together. Get with the sponsor, somebody you trust. Get to know people in this group, in this chat, on our private Facebook group, and join us and get to know people. And this is what we can share. Just like today at 3 o'clock on our Zoom meeting, we shared this type of stuff with each other. And what did it do? It diminished resentments, and it could help eliminate them altogether. The recovery program recognizes the destructive nature of rage and resentments. And that's what's so awesome about the 12 steps is they're perfectly, it's a godsend, no doubt. And I love this last little paragraph. People are not apt to consider being an addict highly desirable. That's not cool. I don't ever want to be an addict. But if we realize the gains from recovery in a 12-step program may not be easily found in other ways. Being addicted may not be the curse that we thought it to be. Praise God for the opportunity that we can grow and learn now.
Amen.
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 Hey, praise God for today.
Good night, Thomas.
Hey, Thomas, thanks for being here. Good night.
Bob's worst resentment is toward himself.
That's a tough one because wherever you go, there you are.
Wow.
Soupy said, real men cry. My father was a World War II vet. He used to always tell my brother, men don't cry. Well, he was never an alcoholic and drug addict. Thank God my mom was a nurse. His brother was town drunk.
Oh, man.
That was crazy.
You started choking up, didn't you?
No, my throat's tickly. T, I hope that's not true with you about the resentment you have with the ex.
What is it?
Whatever you said about your ex.
Jandy?
I have huge resentments towards her and anger. Yeah, it's definitely there. And I don't know what to do about it. I don't know. That's going to be my hardest battle, is my resentment there towards her. Because as soon as the phone rings, man, I'm enraged. Fleece is dying.
I can't talk. It makes me cough every time.
So here is the daily reflection. Let's read this one for today. It's called Release from Fear. The problem of resolving fear has two aspects. We shall have to try for all the freedom from fear that is possible for us to attain. Then we shall need to find both courage and grace to deal constructively with whatever fears remain. That's as Bill sees it, page 61. Most of all my decisions were based on fear. Alcohol made life easier to face, but the time came when alcohol was no longer an alternative to fear. One of the greatest gifts in AA for me has been the courage to take action, which I can do with God's help. After 5 years of sobriety, I had to deal with a heavy dose of fear. God put the people in my life to help me do that. And through my working in the 12 steps, I became the whole person I wish to be. And for that, I am deeply grateful. Amen.
Amen.
Who's Facebook user?
John Hovel.
Hi, John.
What up, John?
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for being here, huh?
Link, want to hear a joke about a balloon?
Yes.
Hey, well, this is my brother.
Yes, I'd love to hear a joke about a balloon.
We're waiting. Oh, I missed something there, TJ. Oh, Rona. No, I think it's just sinus infection from allergies. It's all here.
It's my fault. If you remember
No
about a week
fever.
ago, I started getting an allergy attack, and then it turned into a sinus infection, and then I passed it to her.
And she passed it to me.
Hold on. Link, want to hear a joke about a balloon? Oh, wait. It just got away from me.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Now he's trying to think of one. Oh, that's funny.
That was a good one, brother.
You want to hear a joke about a bad archery dude? Never mind, it went right over my head.
Like, subscribe, and get notified.
Mark, ooze are in the way.
Thanks, Mark. You just totally blocked the notified one.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ooh.
Back on episode 89. Right? Fear.
I think John kind of looks like Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Do you see it?
I can't remember what he looks like. Yeah.
He's
that really smart dude.
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock. I like that guy. Need to stop kissing, guys.
Well,
Yeah.
Make us.
Amber, we're here every night if we get Rona or not. If we have to sneak in my laptop, we will. If I get hospitalized, I will sneak my laptop in there and we'll go live still every night.
I
John,
love that dedication, Dad.
dang, that's lasting forever.
Yeah. Dang it, John. I'm sorry.
Busted.
DJ.
Soupy ass chapter 15 tomorrow?
Yep. Chapter 15 tomorrow. And tomorrow's chapter is about.
Excuse me.
See? Or it's just allergies.
The confining wall.
All dying.
Excuse me.
Quarantine edition. Yep.
Given the emotional sensitivity, poor self-image, and morbid expectation of addicts, it is understandable why they may try to protect themselves from anticipated discomfort. The confining wall, the comfort of not getting out there, the comfort of staying the same.
Yes, I've been meaning to get this local honey you speak of.
We actually have I don't know if we can go get it or not now because of the Rona, but we got some monks that live in the mountains up here, and they make natural honey from here. We should stop by the monk's place.
Only way to angry that doesn't leave body slang everywhere.
Hey, John.
That's true.
Yeah,
Link-
Link closer to my family.
Link is the winner.
He's off.
Yeah, the tissue just gets worse.
And if we lose our voices by chance, I can type really fast. So we'll just sit here, look at each other, and we'll just keep commenting.
This is me.
I know the home row thing.
Like we'll just type home row the whole time.
Is there a time?
God,
God,
grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Another thing, dear Lord, I'd like to pray for all the suffering addicts out there. Pray to help everybody to stay away from the coronavirus, dear Lord. In Jesus' precious name I pray.
Amen. Good job, Lucky. Thank you.
Amen. Oh, it'd be cool if we could do this from the hospital and like interview doctors on addiction.
Oh yeah, that would be really cool.
Anyways.
So just wait, y'all. When I quit my job, I'm gonna have some cool videos coming out. Some real cool videos. I can't wait.
Ooh, elderberry syrup with honey and water. Okay, thank you.
Keep us moving. We're on it.
I'll try anything at this point.
We recover together by staying safe, staying sane, staying strong, and staying sober. You're worth it. Good night, family. Thanks, John. I love that. All right, you guys. Tomorrow we'll be back at 8 o'clock to go through that next chapter about a confining wall. Until then, don't put yourself in a high-risk situation. Be strong, work your program, and remember, we recover better together.